Hello, folks. This is Spoon TV, and I'm Sylvester Chirople. We are coming to you live from Central Monrovia, specifically here at the Ceremonial Pavilion in Monrovia. So, stay with us, with me, Sylvester Chirople. Today, His Excellency President Boakai will be signing the Book of Condolence of the late former President William R. Tolbert Jr. And this is following when the President, His Excellency Boakai, visited family member yesterday about the reburial of the late President William R. Tolbert. This is also following the conclusion of the reburial of the late Samuel K. Doe and his wife just a couple of days ago. The President and the government of Liberia to say they are now set again to do the reburial of the former president of the Republic of Liberia. So still with us, we are about to bring you some historicity of the late president, his contribution, how old was he, when did he die, and his impact on the country. So still with us again, as soon as lay my eyes on all of these facts about the late president of the Republic of Liberia. So again, let me officially welcome you. In the next few minutes, His Excellency President Boakai will be arriving here at the Ceremonial Pavilion for the Book of Condolence signing of the late President William R. Tolbert. So the late Tolbert was born on May 13, 1913. And he died on April 12, 1980 in Monrovia during a military coup. He died at age 66. He was 66 years of age when he died. But before becoming president of the Republic of Liberia, he served as vice president under President William Tubman from January 1, 1952 to July 2020, 1971. And he became the 20th president of the Republic of Liberia from July 23, 1971 until his assassination on April 12, 1980, specifically during the coup when he was assassinated. That's according to history of Liberia. So Talbot hailed from an Americo-Liberian background. His grandfather was a former American slave who immigrated from South Carolina in 1878. Academically, he actually earned a summa cum laude degree from the University of Liberia in 1934. And that's very much important to know that the late president we are discussing and summa cum laude from the University of Liberia in 1934 and was elected to the House of Representatives in 1943. He was a devoted Baptist minister. And in 1965, he became the first African president of the Baptist World Alliance. And he was also a symbol member and Grand Master of Liberia's Masonic Order. That, of course, is obvious. Introducing mode of the historicity of the late president. So the late president actually introduced the liberal reforms, including allowing the formation of Progressive Alliance of Liberia in 1973 and steering Liberia toward the non-Liberia foreign policy, establishing ties with both East and West. He also became chairman of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. Now he has been changed to AU, African Unity. So he was the chairman of the Organization of African Unity, now AU, in 1979 July until his death. Historicity tells us that his presidency faced criticism over economic disparities and nepotism, particularly in the 1979 riots, which contributed to political unrest of our country. He was violently overthrown in 1980 through a military coup or governance under the late Samuel Doe, who was, a couple of days reburied by the Liberian government. So it is the range of the reburial, those famous leaders from the late Prince Johnson, Samuel Kendo, now William R. Tolbert Jr. Those are all officials, former officials of government who play key role in the development of our country. Especially when we say development, it could be backward or progressive, but they actually play key role for the status of Liberia, the current status of Liberia, for whatever Liberia had gone through during those years, could be the dark days or whatever way. They are very, very key in remembering them. So history also tells us that following his execution, Tolbert was secretly buried in Palm Grove Cemetery here in Monrovia, in a mass grave with 13 senior officials. That's which we know that 13 senior officials were killed during Liberia civil unrest, and of course, um, he was one of those buried secretly in Palm Grove Cemetery in Monrovia, specifically around the Tupo Road end. Through At his death period, the Tolbert family maintained annual memorial services and restored Palm Grove, but the terrorism spread plans and other things. I can remember months ago, His Excellency President Boakai told that Palm Grove paid courtesy to him, of course, and other past leaders who died and gone. But yet still, the government of Liberia still wants to do it official, since particularly the former president William R. Tolbert Jr. was secretly buried at the Palm Grove. The Liberian government now see it's necessary to do the reburial officially, give a state burial, like in the case of the late Prince Johnson, and of recent the late Samuel K. Doe. So the government of Liberia continuing this process of recognizing former officials, government officials specifically, in terms of state burial and future ceremony. So earlier on this year, His Excellency President Boakai formed a national committee to oversee dignified reburials for both Tolbert and other officials, and this is why the process continues to go on. So as we speak, officials of government continue to arrive here at the Ceremonial Pavilion. Earlier on, I saw the Minister of Finance, Minister Gafwine, the Minister of Information, Minister Pia, and other officials who are already in awaiting His Excellency President Boakai to begin all this important program of the Book of Condolence. So again, the late president died at age 66. He was born on May 13, 1913. Died on April 12, 1980 during the coup. That's equivalent to 66 years. He served as vice president and then president, and he was at the House of Representatives. Became the chairperson for OAU, African. OAU now became the AU. Right, so that's key to note. So there are several reasons for which he was executed according to history and from the ideology of the late Samuel K. Doe. We will be going into that bit by bit as we carefully watch the arrival of officials who have come to perform the Book of Condolence of the late William R. Tolbert Jr. here at the Centennial Pavilion in Monrovia. So stay with us, Spoon TV, and I'm Sylvester Chudoplan bringing you this live coverage here in Monrovia. So the Tolbert family are continuing to arrive here. Uh, they have started arriving here at the Centennial Pavilion. Yes, let's do that later. Yes, please. Yeah, thank you. All right. So again, folks, welcome. We continue to bring you this live coverage. Today, His Excellency President Boakai is signing the Book of Condolence of the 20th President of the Republic of Liberia, President, the former President William R. Tolbert Jr. So he actually served as vice president for 19 years, took office during a time of rising social consciousness, growing global and anti-colonial movements. So one of the things history is remembering for is that The late president attempted to steer Liberia away from its one-party dominance and include indigenous Liberians in government. And at this time now, you see that about 80 to 90% of the government is being possessed by indigenous Liberians, for which he fought for. He promoted also the non-alignment of foreign policy, building relations with both the West and Eastern Bloc during a Cold War for Liberia. So the late president, according to history, he actually fought in making sure Liberia gets recognition, have ties with the West, remain independent, making sure Liberia economy is strong, and of course everything about rebuilding the nation, being independent by itself and sustaining itself in terms of the economy and every aspect. He fought for that according to history. So the one thing that current leaders continue to preach, he also preached that same thing. He encouraged Liberians to take over their own businesses instead of foreigner dominating, the economy of our country. So um, in recent years, even the immediate past president, George Weah, mentioned that that Liberians should got to take control over their own businesses. And in fact, the current government headed by President Boakai continue to re-emphasize that. So those leaders, like during the administration of Tolbert, they used to preach the same message about Liberia taking over their economy, and this same message continues to go on. What is the status of our country right now? Have Liberians taking over their own economy, or what's wrong in all the messages that the past leaders continue to preach? Not only the past leader, but even the present leaders continue to preach. It is key to note that it's not just during the recent leadership of our leaders, like former President Weah, current President, that is President Boakai, even the former President Eli Joseph Seli. They were preaching the message of Liberian taking control over the economy, but it has gone as far as by the Tolbert, William V.S. Totman, and what have you, preaching the same messages. And now we all can see and at what level Liberians have taken over their own economy. This is not a new message. We got to know that today, that this is not a new message. Every leader coming in power will tell Liberians to take control over their own economy. It has started years ago and still continues. Have Liberians taken over their own economy? What's where is the cause for which if they have not taken over their own economy? These are some of the questions as we remember all of our past leaders, pay courtesy to them. These are the things that we should be analyzing. Liberians should be analyzing to be able to correct any past errors or anything that move forward. So we have to reposition our cameras now that we are getting signal that the president is actually um, en route to the Centennial Pavilion for the book of Condolence of the late President Tolbert. Okay, so folks, still with us. As we move on, we will continue to talk to Liberians, of course, to tell us exactly what can they remember the former president of, and why now it is necessary that Liberians should give all of the courtesies to them. Remember, it is not the only the late president Tolbert, but it's about the other leaders like though whose reburial was just completed a few days ago. Even the late Prince Johnson, uh, Koloko, the godfather, the then godfather of Nimba County, and all other prominent leaders who have hugely contributed to the the state of our country, Liberia. Why should we really, remember them? Should we, all the courtesy should be, given them? Why it is very important that nowadays Liberians should use their resources in making sure that, to spend all them again in terms of reburial, having programs, and what have you. Um, do they really deserve all of the things? Man, I'm only ask the question. Of course, you get make it known by either by comment or whatever way by responding. All right, but these are all necessary questions that Liberians should be asking themselves. All right, these recommendations can be put forth to the Liberian government as the government continues to recognize past leaders for their contribution. My your contribution can be negative, it can be positive. All right, contribution can be negative, positive. Why it is necessary that nowadays, Liberians, after years now, continue to spend their resources on them for reburial, for ceremonial occasions and what have you. Imagine the president going all the way Grand Jada County for such occasion. Not only the president, but the president went with huge delegation, setting aside budget for all of these occasions. And I mean, the government actually saw it necessary to carry on all of these decisions. But what are the thoughts of Liberians in terms of all of these ceremonial programs? All right. So once we come across Liberians or prominent Liberians who want to talk about all of these things, this I think we'll be talking about moving forward. But we want to let you know we are still here live just before the Stadium Pavilion where His Excellency President Boakai in the next few minutes will be carrying on the Book of Condolence for the late William R. Tolbert who died at age 66. He was born in 1930, right? And he became vice president for about 26 years. He served as OU chairperson. He s- he went at the House of Representatives and tried to unite Africa to the West. Africa, like Bureau representing Africa, to try to make sure that Liberia become independent, through the economy or whatever way. But we see the family of the late Talbots lining up there, perhaps preparing to welcome His Excellency President Boakai for this occasion. So this is following just yesterday. The president met with the late Thomas family and counseled them, talked to them, and what have you. And today we are here. The president is about to do the book of Condolence signing, and gradually the events will be unfold about as it relates to the reburial of William R. Toba Jr., the 20th president of the Republic of Liberia. All right, so again, still with us, Spoon TV with me is the best Chilo Play. We try to look around and talk to individuals who may want to talk to us concerning about this uh, ceremony here at the Centennial Pavilion. So, still with us, I'm seeing here that the Director of Cabinet is already here. Director of the Cabinet, Director Nathaniel Kwabo. Uh, he's around also. And there are schools of government officials who are already in awaiting His Excellency President Boakai to begin this ceremony. Um, So I will see the director of cabinet here. I will just give one or two words as to why he here remembered about the former president. So you can just follow up, one of the director. Just tell us exactly what can you remember about the former president?
Well, I was in my teenage years, when he was president. What I remember most about him um, is when he led the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. I remember sitting in the living room with my mom, and I heard him speak at the OAU and actually in the UN as well. And I really admire, his patriotism and his Pan-African spirit, which really took me, you know, to him more or less. And also, I followed, as young as I was those years, his development approach, and I thought, he was quite, innovative. He was quite serious in terms of how he wanted to transform the country. So he had a lot of vision,
Okay.
And he was quite transformative in his approach to development.
So basically, this is a new trend that, which of course might be welcoming for the family members of the past leaders. The government has just completed with the reburial of the late President Do, including his wife, and before that, we the government also did a state burial funeral for Prince Johnson. Now, William R. Tolbert Jr., the 20th president of the Republic of Liberia, who also served as vice president, like you said, chairperson of the AU. In fact, he served, in the House of Representatives. So, why is it that all of these things do you think are necessary for the reburial of all of the leaders?
Look, first of all, you have to know that after 2003, the country decided, to put their past behind them. But also, there were a few things that we decided to do as a country, especially following the signing of the Accra Comprehensive Peace Agreement. One of those things was the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Okay, and the Truth Commission, after investigating, the past, including antecedents to the conflict, and also the root causes of the conflict, came up with over 200 recommendations. And one of those recommendations was the proper and dignified reburial of both President Doe and President Tolbert, because the circumstances under which they left power were quite tragic, and a lot of portrays those circumstances, portrays our conflict with those circumstances.
Right.
So the president, being a man of peace who is determined to reconcile the country, decided to follow up on these recommendations, and that is exactly what we are doing. And there are more to be done.
Okay, so thank you so much, Honorable Nathaniel Kwabo, the Director of Cabinet. But is there any other thing you wish to maybe say as it relates to the reburial and the book of Condolence?
Well, we are on a road of national renewal and development, and we are not turning back the clock. And therefore, we need to do these things on the foundations of peace and reconciliation. In 2012, we had a national roadmap for peace, healing, and reconciliation, and we're trying to unravel that as well. And so I'm calling on Liberians, to recognize these ceremonies as part of our approach to reconciling ourselves and healing the past and moving forward, because we need to exercise the ghost of the past in order for us to move forward as a country. There's so much potential we have as a country to develop, and we don't want that to be interrupted by past wrongs, past events that have not been healed, pains of individuals and communities, over the past 35 years that ought to be healed, need to be healed. And we need to bring closure to some of these things to move forward as a country and a people. And now that we've already have a seat on the National Security Council, we need to show to the world and demonstrate to the world that we are putting behind our past, and will help the world in terms of how they themselves can pursue peace and reconciliation and democracy.
Thank you very much.
My name is IC for LMTV. This move by the government of Liberia, we saw the welcoming remarks that was made in Zweju, and it seems that Nigerians actually been yearning for such a day to come through. And you are here today in Monrovia, having another group of Nigerians, the former president, Governor Naratu. Do you see this as a step forward to ending the years of the bitterness among Liberians?
Of course, I mean, this is one of the things that we ought to do as a country, to resolve or to transform our country and to put the past behind us and move into the future as a country progressing and developing, as a nation. And so, repairing President Tolbert and President Doe are just, two of the things that we needed to do to reconcile, to heal. Because, as we always say, there's no point, sweeping the problems under the rug and later on having to see them again. And as it been said, we can build all the superstructures in development, but if we don't reconcile and heal, all those things will come tumbling on the ground again, which is why this is very important. And I think all Liberians should embrace the effort of the president, in ensuring that we reconcile as a people, because the president is clearly on the path, of development, and therefore he wants to make sure that those things that may hinder or militate against, our progress are removed. And of course, when people are carrying both physical and psychological scars of the conflict, it is important to help them to bring closure to those things.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Honorable Nathaniel Kwabu, the Director of for the Liberian government. So, folks, still with us. We are still here live at the Centennial Pavilion, and we are just here soliciting views as to what could be remembered of the late president. What are his legacy roles, and yes, these are some of the things. But for those of you following us live, we earlier on asked a few questions as it relates to the necessity of all of these actions. That's the reburials of past government officials. There, we see the arrival of the Minister of State of our portfolio, Mama Kapalite, there. And of course, a number of government officials are already in there, including the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Information, and others are already seated, awaiting the president to arrive here. So we look around again to talk to those who are willing to talk to us and tell us exactly why they can remember. And but you clearly listen to Dr. Kwabo say one of the reasons for which this government is taking this train is to reconcile Liberians. And said through reconciliation, Liberia can be united, Liberia can be developed, and of course, with one mindset, the country can be built. And that's what one of the main points he stated to us while speaking to us. All right. So we are still here posted. So still for us here. So we continue to speak to Liberians, like we said. So let's speak to this gentleman. So I say gentleman. Oh, all right. Let's speak to this fellow. What's up?
I'm James B. Trevor Jr.
My man, the way you're standing, I know you ready to get the historicity of the former president. What's up? How you doing?
Fine.
All
So
right.
Dr. William Arataba Jr.
You
was
say your name again?
James B. Trevor Jr.
Okay, you are here to observe the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dr. William Arataba Jr. was the longest vice president in the history of Liberia, who spent 19 years as vice president to the longest serving president, President William V.S. Tubman. And then the second longest vice president is the current president of the Republic of Liberia, who spent 12 years as president of Mala Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So if you look at this there's a movement of our state burial of memorial service. What we want to gather as to whether Dr. William Arataba did not play a role. Actually, he was very instrumental in the history of Liberia. The progressivity for Liberia endeavors. So, for example, for self-sufficiency in food production, he was given 10,000 as an award because he wanted for us to avoid the dependency syndrome. He wanted for Liberians to be self-sufficient in food production. He and friend Roman Hortion established the first indigenous bank.
Okay, so thank you very much. I have to let you go like that because we see the motorcade of His Excellency President Boakai pushing and that we will continue to talk to more Liberians as we capture the arrival of His Excellency President Boakai right there. Still first, yes, you have the motorcade of His Excellency President Boakai here. All right, so there you have it. Once he so that's the vehicle of His Excellency President Boakai here. He will disembark his vehicle, make his way in the Centennial Pavilion here. See the president, his entourage here arriving. Diamond agents are posted, making sure that the president is in good condition in terms of safety and what have you. Right, so it's two of us as we bring you this ceremony. So there you have His Excellency President Boakai there. President Boakai is there. So the president will do the signing of the book of condolence. So His Excellency President Boakai is doing the signing of the book of condolence of the late uh, President of the Republic of Liberia, William R. Tolbert Jr., who served as the 20th President of the Republic of Liberia and also Vice President, served as the chair on AOU, and he went at the level of the House of Representatives. And he actually helped to build Liberia and to making sure that the country remains independent, sufficient in terms of economy and what have you. So the former president died at age 66 after he was assassinated, according to history. He was assassinated by the action of the coup in 1980. And after that, he was secretly buried at the Pine Grove Cemetery in Painesville. And the government of Liberia now is making sure to give state burial or reburial of the former president after he was secretly buried, dashed. Uh, the government is now doing a reburial of the former leaders. So the president is having handshakes with members of the late Tolbert, family members of the late Tolbert. As you can see there, the president continues to have handshakes. See a smile on the face of His Excellency President Boakai. gently smiling with family members. See the little laughter and smiles on the faces of those family members who are shaking hands with the president, having chip chats as well. The family members seem to be very happy for this occasion and this idea. The president will now go to his seat and watch the process. So, following the book of condolence by him, the signing of the book of condolence by him, other officials of government will now do the same. Will not do the same. So, see, the Deputy Minister of State, Defense Minister, Judge, Finance Minister, Gender, Prerogative Advisor to the President, and the the advisor on economics, and other officials are here. So the official signing ceremony of the Book of Condolence of the late President William R. Tolbert Jr. continues. Other official of government, family members, and people who have come to just do that are here and performing this task. One thing we observed so far while the president was having handshakes is the smiles on the faces of family members of the late Tolbert. That could be an indication that the family members of the late Tolbert have endorsed this idea of the reburial, and in fact, could be said that they are the one that started, the entire process, putting pressure on the back of the government to making sure that this occasion goes on. So while the president was having his shakes, we saw laughter, from family members. And even the president himself was laughing. So, like the director of cabinet earlier on told us that this is meant for a reconciliation, to unite, Liberians, because with one mindset, it is possible that this country transformed in a developmental level. So, from Southeast, the next person is Tolbert. It was a few months ago. It was in North Central Liberia, Nimba County. And today we are now talking about the late Tolbert. So it could be truly one of the reasons is to unite Liberians, reconcile Liberia, because with that, it helps the government to focus. Not only the government to focus, but also help Liberians in inclusive of having one mindset, focusing on development only. That could be the reason. So we saw what happened during the state barrier of the late senator of Nimba County and one would say warlords of Liberia. And Liberians celebrated that moment just by political disenchantment while I view, but that was done peacefully. For that, the reburial of Doe and his wife followed. Just ended a couple of days ago, and today we are talking about Tolbert. So we continue to see as all of these things go on as to how will Liberians appreciate all of these ideas. What do we hope to see after all of these things? though the government talk about reconciliation, but it is enough to making sure that Liberia uh, gets to where we want to see it in terms of development. What needs to be done? What are the efforts applied or applying by the Liberian government to see our country at a prosperous state? As one time mentioned by President Boakai, that he wishes to see Liberia as a prosperous state. And still with us, the next person doing the Book of Condolence is the Minister of Finance, Minister Augustine B. Gaffon. Gaffon is Liberia's CC economist, veteran to that effect, and he was minister and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and President Parker came and brought him back to the ministerial position again, specifically the Minister of Finance. And he continues to do his best despite all of these challenges or struggles. He continues to do his best with his team at the Ministry of Finance. And of course, it is on we go. Right, so he's now doing the signing of the Book of Condolence here at the Centennial Pavilion. So, like we told you, there are other officials of government that are here. Way over there, we see the last person on that side is the Minister of Information, Pia, is here. See the Minister of Justice, Councillor Toy. See the Minister of Portfolio, Verity, Gender, the President, Education, Defense, and State, and so on. Other officials include Monrovia City Hall Mayor. See, way over there is also here. Behind the president are all diamond agents. See the ARC there and the Dauda cabinet, and so there are a number of common officials who are here for the Book of Condolence, and this site is for the bereaved family members of Alegdo. Alright, a few minutes ago we saw the president interacted with them, and so the next person is the Minister of Justice. Councillor Toy is the next person who's doing the Book of Condolence signing here at the Centennial Pavilion. Alright, so under his leadership at the Ministry of Justice, we are witnessing something that other Liberians classify as uncompromised justice. Alright, we are witnessing uncompromised justice. We see how alleged corrupt officials, former corrupt officials, are being handled by the government through the Ministry of Justice. He is one of the ministers who cannot be left out in terms of justice being be prevailed. So he cannot be left out. Honor his leadership. Liberians, or most Liberians, describing his leadership as uncompromised, justice leadership. So, Councillor Toy is the next person who doing the Book of Condolence signing. Alright, so coming very shortly, we go off. Perhaps the government has another plan after here. They could be telling Liberian as to when will be the date of the burial. the reburial of the late William R. Tolbert Jr., 20th President of the Republic of Liberia, AUJ, who died at age 66. He was born in 1913. Of course, we added on give the uh, the history of the late uh, uh, president. Alright, so stay with us again. Spoon TV with me, Sylvester Chilople. We are coming to you live here in Monrovia, specifically at the Centennial Pavilion, where the Book of Condolence program is being held. Okay, so the next person uh, is the is the Minister of Defense, Minister George is the next person who is doing the Book of Condolence signing here at the pavilion. So, in recent years, she is the first female defense minister, uh, Geraldine George, and Liberians have been observing her leadership, especially as a female minister at the Ministry of National Defense. The Ministry of National Defense has been playing a key role in protecting uh, the peace of our country. We see recent action by members of the Ministry of National Defense, especially in terms of chaotic protests or disagreement in Liberia. One of the occasions we can talk about is the one that happened in Pinsfield, just around before reaching the ELW junction. The intervention of the members of the Ministry of National Defense. So that institution, the Ministry of National Defense, is one of the discipline institutions within the Liberian government. Uh, so this was very fast of the minister. Less than a minute or so, she was done. Let's see who's next. See Mama Gabrite working. You know, that moment you can see. So Mama Gabrite is from the Ministry of State. She's responsible for, uh, you know, logistics, specifically, actually, her role at the Ministry of State is about logistics, the presidential logistics, making sure that the president. Uh, so why is Mama Gabrite known for in recent time? She's known for the yellow machine. All right. Yes, of course, she's known for yellow machine. Earlier on, um, she pronounced the procurement, I mean, the bringing of 285 yellow machine. But after her pronouncement, just before the president, it sparked serious tension, criticism that prompted the vice president of the Republic of Liberia to have gone into it as well. And subsequently, the legislators questioning, the procurement aspect of those machines, and at the end, it was established, that those machines will be negotiated at a high cost. All right, at a high cost, from 80 million. From 80 million, the government tried to negotiate to 22 million through the leadership role of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Vice President Ceremonial. So, if you ask what could Mama Ability be remember or recognized for, these are some of the things she has been playing also instrumental roles at the Minister of State, like we earlier on told you in terms of logistics. The marketability has been playing key parts and also administrative parts as well. All right, so um, she's here and she has been with the president even going to the country. We saw her there, with the president, and making sure that that process went smoothly in going to the country. She writes with a left hand. That could one of the things that you could see her doing, and she's done. Minister of State without portfolio, Mama Ability. It's on Spoon TV with me, Sylvester Chirobe. Let's see who's next. The official spokesperson of the Liberian government, one time the press secretary, and now the Minister of Information, Jeremy Pia. What is he known for? Of recent, he's known for promptly responding to critics. All right, he's known for um, responding to issues within the government or even outside the government pertaining to the state. And that's why he's known for. Um, Someone may not say he may be aggressive in responding to issues in terms of those issues that I see unrealistic or false. He doesn't hesitate to making sure to perform his tasks as the Minister of Information. So yesterday, he is the Minister of Information for the Republic of Liberia, and in less than a minute or 30 seconds, he's done. Let's see who's next here. Let's see who's next. The Minister of Public Works, Minister Giddis, is the person who's next, and of course, he catches the pen carry on this tax. So, Minister Giddy, the Minister of Public Works, what is he known for? The president has over and over talked about roles, the connectivity of the 15 counties. I do remember in one of the cabinet meetings at the executive mansion, the president praised the Ministry of Public Works specifically for his job well done that he is doing in connecting the 15 counties of Liberia, making sure that the feeder roads are connected. So, in fact, he's one of the ministers that Liberians even praising in terms of his roles. He's performing at the Ministry of Public Works, connecting the 15 counties. President left, his home in Painesville around 11 in the morning, and by 6, 7, he was in Granger. That was it because the pavement of the roads, from Monrovia straight to Granger County. So he's one of the ministers that he's being praised always by the president and Liberians, of course. So he's the one doing the signing of the book of Condolence now, as you can see, Minister Giddens. All right, but we are in rainy city, and in the next few weeks, months, we will know exactly all of the pavement of roads they have been carried on, how sustainable and guaranteeing they are. Liberians will be able to judge him as to what he has been doing for the past months in terms of road connectivity, whatever way. So when you talk about the Minister of Public Works, that's why we can say, so he's done. Let's see who's next. Let's see who is next, right? Um, Let's see here. The next person. So the next person. But we see family members being very, very, attentive, discussing about themselves. See the family members are all here and briefly discussing. Always see smiles on their faces, as you can see as well. But let's see whether there are lawmakers in here. Let's try to turn our camera around to see if we have lawmakers here for this. Uh, all right. So yes, we have some lawmakers. Uh, so I see Senator Darius DeLon, Mangeo, Jim Smith, and other people, but I'm sure they will make their way in here. And after this lady, let's see uh, who's proceeding here. Folks, stay with us. We stay here posted. Uh, stay here posted. So this lady has done with the signing of the book of condolence. Let's see who is next on the list. So, see the Minister of Youth and Sports. Minister of Youth and Sports is next. What do we remember or recognize of the Minister of Youth and Sports? So, honestly, Liberia ended, a peaceful or successful county meet. All right, that county meet brought Liberians together, and at the Ministry of Sports, you have the TVET process or programs ongoing where disadvantaged youth are being rehabilitated, and young people are trained at the Ministry of Youth and Sports for skills and so forth. So, uh, the Minister of Youth and Sports is always seen around the president too as well. And one of the things the president always talks about as it relates to the Ministry of Youth and Sports is the rehabilitation aspect about young people. The president usually gives that method that the minister should make sure that young people have young people get trained, get skills, and what have you. So in less than a minute, the Minister of Youth and Sports is done. So the Minister of Gender, Minister Colley, has just done with the Sunday of the Book of Condolence, Gender Minister, right? I think the Minister of Gender are making several attempts. Those their actions are not really being seen, but there are several attempts being made by the Ministry of Gender to take children from the streets and get on some awareness. So the Minister of Gender just completed the signing of the Book of Condolence. So again, one of the main priorities of the Ministry of Gender to save children, take children from the street, and the president has been focusing on that as well. So let's see who's next. President's already seated already. So the Senate Book of continues here. The Investment Commission here is here. Jeff, what is it known for? So we want your comment dropping it in that. And what are those things you recognize about this the Investment Commission under the leadership of President Boakai? What has been the impact of the Investment Commission, and specifically on Jeff? Alright, so we have not been able to follow some of the workings of the of that commission, and we cannot talk much about that. But he's the boss of Investment Commission. Alright, so stay with us. Stay with us. Spoon TV, Sylvester Chuluple. We are live here at the Centennial Pavilion, where the signing of the Book of Condolence of the 20th President of the Republic of Liberia, Willie R. Tolbert Jr. is green. Steve Queer is the Deputy Minister of State. Deputy Minister of State. The Minister of State is the person who's sorry, David, about the minister still with our portfolio. We have several ministers of state with our portfolio, and he's one of those. All right, the minister of state with our portfolio, Minister Steve Queer. This minister, over the time that I see him, he's one of the agents at the Ministry of State. Frankly speaking, he's one of the agents at the Ministry of State. He usually works uncovered, making sure that the results should be out, and that's why he's known for. Alright, he's not the kind of person who will go to the media, what have you, but he has been very instrumental at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs Minister Steve Queer. Alright, so let's see. Augustine Conner is the advisor to the president, economic advisor to the president. So as you see here, what do you think about economy? What do you think about the thoughts of the president about the our economy? He's one of those who advises the president on the economic affairs of our states. So you talk about him based on what uh, the condition you see our economy. Um, the reclaiming of businesses and what have you. But he's one of those who is very much close to the president. It's clear he's one of those who's very close to the president, and he's one of the ears of the president. the economic advisor to the president, that Auguste Conne. So he has been giving pieces of advice as to how the economy to run, and you do the judgment based on the state of our economy. That Auguste Conne, the economic advisor. So we have more officials of government who are here posted. Alright, more officials of government who are here posted. See the protocol consulting the president, uh, Ambassador Emmett, you know, uh, Kennedy is the chief of protocol at the executive mansion. Uh, Emmett Kennedy, he's in touch with the president. So, who is next? This woman needs no introduction. A movement for one Liberia, political leader and political advisor to the president. So you have been following the trend of the politics in Liberia. If you see the president's perspective, or if you listen to the president's perspective about politics, she's one of those who advises the president on how the president should take political decision. All right. When we talk about politics, in fact, it's what everybody goes for in Liberia. We saw the most recent, most talk about issues as it relates to the House of Representatives speakership. The president played key role in terms of calling on lawmakers to do the right thing, following their rules, the rule of law. The president, one with the others, uh, went for the quorum, so she's one of those who is responsible to advise the president on political affairs. All right. Mandela Cooper is the political advisor to the president. So when you hear the president making political comments, making political decisions, he's one of the key officials who advises the president on what the president will say, how the president will proceed on talking about political matters, making political decisions, um, and so forth. So, and besides that, she has been very vocal in terms of talking about politics and how the political affairs should be, run and whatever. So she has done just a minute and see who's next here. All right, let's see who is next. I'll see person that proceeding here. So Nathaniel Kwabo is the Director General of the Cabinet. And just before the arrival of the president, he spoke to us, giving his view as to why should the late president be remembered of, and why it is the reburial of the former president take place. So he made a contribution earlier on. But why is he remembered for? Why can he be recognized for? Nathaniel Kwabo at the office of the president is the official of the government who is responsible to coordinate cabinet members, officials. And when you talk about the performance tax, where the president talk about, holding entity ministries responsible, want to see that they're working. Nathaniel Kwabo is the person who is behind all of these things. That government officials will be able to be accountable about what they do and what are their performances and so forth. So he's from the office of the president. He's the director of cabinet. Let's see this. Uh, uh, okay, so the dress code, or tells us who the woman is. We have been told she is the spiritual advisor to the president. The spiritual advisor to the president. All right, so the spiritual advisor to the president, Amanda Brown, is doing the signing of the book of Condolence. As we all know, when it comes to the religious activities of the president, matter of fact, he takes seriously about you know, his God, and whatever. In fact, I remember his in Palmer County, where a program comments, they forgot to have reference God, and he reminded he reminded the congregation to invite God and what have you. So that tells you how strong the president. So a short announcement being released from here. The team will be proceeding to the Baptist Seminary for the laying of the wreath on tomorrow. That was the announcement was given. So the president uh, will leave, but before that, have interaction with family. So earlier on, we told you that some lawmakers came to witness this process. So here you see Nathaniel McGay, uh, see other senators who have come to carry on the board of Condolence, see the president interacting with the senators, lawmakers who are here. See Grand Bassa County Senator is also here. The president is having handshakes with all of them uh, here at So the president is now. So, folks, we want to talk to some of the senators or lawmakers who have come to witness it.
Please clear the aisle. Members of the press, please take your position. Please clear the aisle.
So you have lawmakers. Lawmakers have now started taking seat.
Kindly pay us interlude of music while we await the arrival of the Honorable Vice President of